Welcome to Nutrition Talk Tuesday. My name is Nicole Kale, board certified holistic nutritionist, and today's episode is all about how do we end yo-yo dieting for good. I've been there. We've all had a situation or more than a situation with food that's not always in our best interest. Yo-yo dieting is something that I see in my practice every single day. You are not alone. That's the first thing I want you to realize. You're not some weird, like, why can't I get it done? No, it is a constant struggle. So I want to make sure today that you grab a pen, make sure to take notes because I'm going to give you 3 very useful tools that can help you truly end the awful cycle of inconsistent health. Okay, so the first thing, are you ready? Real quick. I'm going to be sending a weekly email recap with all this information and some awesome resources that go with what I'm talking about today. So click the link in my bio so you can get the weekly email recap and you don't miss out. The first thing I want to bring your attention to, when it comes to yo-yo dieting, how many times have you started your journey with the best of intention? You're like, I want to be healthy. I want to feel great. I want all the energy. There's just some driving force. There's an excitement. You're experiencing a positive emotion, mostly when you decide to embark upon a new diet. Or maybe the flip side, like you're having some health issues or you got some bad news about a family member and something could be, running in your family lineage that concerns you. But no matter what it is, the intention behind your why starts off good. And this is where we've got to stop for a second and we've really got to assess. Why is it that we start strong and then we slowly start to lose motivation? You want to know why? Because when we made the goal, when we set this desire in our soul, like I want to be healthy, I want to lose weight, I want to eat awesome food, we didn't even check in with ourselves. Can you imagine, I want you to stop for a second. Think about when you're dreaming about your dream relationship with, a man or a woman or a friend, whatever it may be. You can easily be like, I want this in a husband. I want that in a wife. I want this in a partner. I want a BFF with XYZ. We got to have the same hobbies, whatever it may be. You can easily start to say cool, this is how I want to build a relationship with somebody in the future. And you quickly realize that those are good and they're well-intended and they're always a part of who you are. But then there's also reality that kind of sinks in, right? We can't necessarily place our desires and drives on somebody else for what they have to offer us, right? That's not how a relationship works. A relationship works by being in connection to each other from the beginning. Right? So you meet somebody and you're excited and you're just like, oh, this is great. And then eventually things come up, right? Maybe there's a habit or they chew too loud or they snore at night, or maybe you're putting in more effort than they are, right? You start to quickly learn okay, wait, to make this relationship amazing, we've got to be connected and we have to be able to communicate that. And then we have to be able to execute. Right? So do you see that? And I'm not going off on a tangent here. I just want you to start thinking about wow, there's a lot that goes into a relationship with somebody. Guess what? The same effort has to go into your relationship with food. It's not this easy, let's do it. There are so many tiny, intricate details about us as humans when it pertains to food. There are very few things we have to do in life to stay alive, right? We have to eat, sleep, drink water, and eventually we'll need food. You can go a long time without it, but you will die or become severely malnourished and have issue if you don't eat the right foods, specifically micronutrients. So in order to understand hey, how do I really build health for life? It starts by building a genuine relationship with food. You can't start a relationship with food with all these restrictions I'm on a diet today. Yes, let's go. By the way, you can't eat this, you can't have that, don't eat past 6 o'clock. You instantly start a relationship with all these negatives. I know if that was a guy and I was single, I'd be like, bye, Felicia. That would not work for me. I'd be like, no, wait. You're putting all these restrictions on me. I'm a free bird. And it's the same way with your diet. So I want you to think about that. I want you to think okay, I have struggled with yo-yo dieting. Awesome. That's okay. That's all of us, by the way. but now I want you to have long-term health. So how can we get you to have long-term health? Assessing it, assessing your relationship with your food. You have to build a healthy one with it in order for it to be long-term and permanent. There's work involved, there's emotion involved, there's honesty involved, there's vulnerability involved. And that's one of those things that doesn't sound fun. You're like, gosh, it's just a diet. But I promise you, it is the secret sauce to finally tapping into like, okay, wait, what am I really hungry for? What has actually been going on? Why the yo-yo diet here? Why am I good when everything's great and then I'm turning into the popcorn and chocolate when things are heavy in my life? You have to start assessing these little tiny things that occur and then just keeping record, right? And over time, you'll have enough understanding like, okay, cool, this is the kind of relationship I need with food. And I want to give you an example. So 99% of the time, I'm like, team healthy, let's go. But our family is very big in tradition, right? So every year, my daughter makes something called Christmas conchas. Let me tell you something, they are to die for, okay? There's nothing healthy about the Christmas conchas. Sure, we mill the grain and we add the healthiest amount of sugar you can, right? It's an indulgent food, but guess what? It feeds my soul. So I'm going to have a Christmas concha or two and be super stoked about it. And that's part of understanding what my relationship with food embodies. And so that's what you have to start thinking about is like the big picture of everything. And that will truly start to help you along your journey. That's the number one thing that you can do right away that's going to help you adjust and make sure that when you're deciding to eat a different type of food because you want to be healthy, that you are actually doing it from a place that honors you as a human, not the person with six-pack abs, not what this diet says to do, you and your sacred self. The other thing is I want you to look at patterns. You've got to start looking at like, how long have I been yo-yo dieting for? Why have I been doing this? And when you get off track, when something goes south a little bit, why? Like, what is it? Was your heart hungry? Was your emotional, like, were you feeling a void? You have to start really looking at those patterns and starting to be able to not give in to those emotions during time of distress. Listen, comfort and growth are arch enemies. They do not exist together comfortably. So when we start identifying patterns and we're looking at like, okay, wait a minute, when I'm stressed and need to calm down from something, or when I feel a burden on my soul, I just want to eat everything, or I do the opposite and I eat nothing, right? You have to realize that with change, with growth, it becomes uncomfortable. And so instead of turning to food during those times or not turning to food, you have to start looking at like, okay, what are some other things that I can do during this time to mitigate from turning to or away from food? And that's very important. And so the very last thing that I want to talk to you today about is realizing the relationship that you have with your food. It is not a militant relationship. It can't be so hardcore that there's no love and joy and tastiness and excitement and happiness. There has to be a lot of positive emotion to have long-term results, right? And so while growth and change, it can be uncomfortable, it doesn't need to rip a piece of your soul out. You don't have to not go to social events or be afraid to go in a certain setting because of what they might have for food or not have for food. No matter what it is, you just have to realize that it's okay to be in a position where it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. And there's nothing wrong with that. So you have to realize that I need to take things slow. I've got to slowly work and understand and honor my body and not be this militant, aggressive person towards my relationship with food. Negative relationships never yield a positive result most times. But if you could start with something positive and you can build upon that, it's amazing what can be achieved. And that is exactly how your relationship with food works. You shouldn't fear food. You should not be feeling like, oh, this diet is awful, it is hard. Yes, you will hear me say oftentimes, sometimes you have to embrace the suck. And there is discomfort with change. And there's icky feelings sometimes when you're like, I really want ice cream, but we know it's not really what you're hungry for, it's something else. So it's not fun when you have to sometimes say no to something or say, I'm gonna set that on the table today. But just knowing that you are going to start building a lasting, vibrant, healthy, vulnerable, true, honest relationship with food is how you truly end yo-yo dieting. To have a positive relationship with your health, everything. It's about mind, body, soul, your spirit. And to keep that relationship extremely happy and to keep it growing and evolving, you have to do it by being in relation with your food, by being connected to it and understanding, like, this is how I do it, this is how it works. And once you master those three things, you will be able to finally end yo-yo dieting for good. I believe in you. I know that you can do this. If you need any help, guidance, love, direction, nuggets of wisdom, anything, please email us, DM me, let me know. If you found this video useful, like, comment, share. Your feedback is invaluable to us. By sharing our information, it helps me know, like, yes, we're on point. I appreciate you and thank you for letting me be of service to you.